Welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Bull. Today we're talking about the U.S. office market. We have a special guest now to talk about medical office buildings. It's Paul Zeman. Paul's a partner with Bull Realty. He's also president of Medical Office Building Investments. Paul, thanks for joining us in Studio One today.
Good morning. Love being here.
We appreciate it, Paul. And tell us about cap rates on medical office buildings. I know it can be a little different than regular office buildings, right?
You know, it is. Typically, cap rates for medical office are slightly higher than general office, and I attribute that to the fact that it's a little bit tougher to re-tenant a medical office building, and typically the TI is a little greater. But on a national basis right now, we're for transactions above $5 million, 7.0 is the industry average that I'm seeing for medical office, and about 6.7 average for office.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because office and medical office, I guess the difference is it's the same thing. Just medical office just has a lot more moving parts, a lot more difficulty.
I tell people
right?
that medical office is just like office. It's just a lot more complicated.
Right. And what about sales volume, Paul? It seems like the medical office business is a lot smaller than normal office.
You know, it is. For the trailing 12 months for regular office, we've seen about $130 billion of transactions, and in medical office, about $10 billion. But 2014 finished out a little over $8 billion, which was a new record by a pretty wide margin. First quarter is off to a phenomenal start because typically the first quarter is the slowest. We're at $2.7 billion already in 2015, which is like off the charts.
Yeah, well, it's interesting how much smaller that market is, and I guess it makes it more difficult to work in. There's less product to deal with. What about your forecast moving forward? I know you author a very popular newsletter on the medical office building market, and you do some projections there, which people like to see. I know you have a crystal ball, right? You can tell us what to expect moving forward on cap rates.
I wish I had the crystal ball. So, I would say that, we might see a little more cap rate compression, and I would mainly attribute that to the fact that the capital raises amongst the institutional buyers is far exceeding the sales transactions or the sales volumes that we're seeing. For example, last year, some investors or the institutional investors raised about $16 billion to purchase medical office buildings with, and we traded about $8 billion. So there's a lot of cash out there that's needing to be deployed, and that's obviously going to compress cap rates just a little.
All right, so if you own a medical office building, if everything else is equal, might be a good time to sell with all this demand and also the really low interest rates. But I guess a lot of the buyers in the world you're dealing with are really paying cash. They're not really getting an acquisition loan, are they?
No, the overwhelming majority of the buyers that I transact with are all cash.
Mm-hmm.
I love those no finance contingency offers.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them will put debt on the property later, and that's fine. But for ease of transaction, all cash is a luxury.
Can you share a quick tip with us for people who own medical office buildings and might be considering selling them?
I would say that even the best properties don't bring top dollar unless they're properly introduced to the market, and each building could be a little different, so we try to put together a different type of business plan or different situation for each property that we analyze and that we look at.
Quick tip for a buyer?
I would say to utilize some feet on the street knowledge. I've seen some very capable buyers buy some buildings where I knew all along the tenants were moving, but they didn't. So it's good to get some feet on the street knowledge in the market where you're buying something.
Well, good tips, Paul. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you being here in Studio One.
Thanks for having me.
And stay tuned and be sure you see us next week. We're going to talk about retail and retail real estate. That's really been a changing market, probably the last sector to recover. Don't miss it. Until next week, be sure that you always lead, learn, and laugh, and join us for the Commercial Real Estate Show. The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you by Bull Realty Commercial Advisors, a great place to do business. Visit bullrealty.com. RealNex, a comprehensive and powerful suite of commercial real estate tools at an incredibly low price. Visit realnex.com. That's REALNEX. Xceligent, the resource professionals use for commercial real estate information. Visit xceligent.com. That's XCELIGENT. Commercial Search, the source to market and source available properties for sale or lease. Visit commercialsearch.com. For more information on these great companies or for additional videos, podcasts, or articles, visit CREshow.com.